What's going on, gamers? So we got an interesting video here covering Sony's approach to their subscription service and Microsoft's approach, and the highlight of it being covered by Shuhei Yoshida. And there are some things that I agree with what he's saying. Um, and we're going to talk about that because it's definitely important and it's something that's happening right now and it's in progress. So he says Shuhei Yoshida warns that subscription services could become dangerous for developers. This has been talked about before, but let's see what he has to say about it. I believe the way Sony approached subscriptions is healthier, he adds, and he's kind of taking shots at Microsoft's approach to Game Pass. He thinks they've made a mistake by putting first party there day one too much. And we're going to get into what he says and then highlight that. Then we're going to get into Phil Spencer basically admitting too that, Game Pass is not for everyone. And of course, it's basically almost like saying too that, the way we did things, it didn't work the way we wanted it to. Because you don't just come out and say that. And he did say that's right here. Phil Spencer said Xbox Game Pass is not for everybody, which brings me to a point I've long held. All right, so clicking on this, we'll get to some comments, don't worry. It says Shuhei Yoshida warns subscription services, which we just read. The big companies dictate what games can be created. I don't think that will advance the industry. Now, this is something I really want to highlight. That right there. That is a very good topic to start off with. All right, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. Okay. So basically, what he just said is that you don't want all of gaming to be dumped into big mega corporate subscription services. That's very true because then you have the corporations dictating and controlling the gaming industry through a subscription model. And there's not going to be any more independent, no indie, no none of that. You see what I mean? He's saying that's what you don't want and to be careful with that. And that's very true. Think about that because then everything would just be corporate soup. That would be terrible. That would be like selling the soul of gaming away. Oh my God, it'd be terrible. So we're going to go into this more. Now, going down, former PlayStation boss and indie advocate Shuhei Yoshida believes the rise and potential dominance of subscription services like Xbox Game Pass could become dangerous for developers eager to push the envelope. Yeah, you don't have a budget, you're not pushing for anything. Like you're kind of like scared that you may fail and get laid off. Like you work together every day, you have a deadline. You know what I mean? Not like there's a comfortable budget. No, you know what that felt like to actually know what it meant to make it and to be successful and to actually sell the game and have everybody love it and build a relationship with the community and be pro consumer. It's hard to play that game, but that's the real game. You know what I mean? What can the artist do with the AI helping? Not trying to replace the artist. All right, so speaking to game developer at Games Com Latin, the industry veteran explains subscription services are great if you're allowed inside the walled garden. The concern he suggests is that as they inevitably expand on a bedrock of first party titles, it will become harder for third party studios and indies to cross that divide. That's very true because first party is more like on your side in house, like if it was Game Pass or Sony service or whatever, you know what I mean? Whereas like indie and third party, there needs to be at least some semi independency there. Because corporations should not be dictating what the artist wants to do. They should be having more freedom. That's the point of art. It should have a sense of freedom. Shouldn't be corporate. Okay. So, if the only way for people to play games is through subscriptions, that's really dangerous because what type of games can be created will be dictated by the owner of the subscription services, he says. Definitely, if they don't talk to the community and they hide stuff from them. Yeah, I mean, how can I trust you? Yeah, you can't trust people to just buy stuff. No, they're just hitting the buy button. It's like going on a game. We've all like had this group together, and we're some of the top people on this service game. We're grinding. We got the best weapons. We beat the hardest stuff, but only like 1% beat it. But then they added in a buy to play option, and somebody's just sitting there hitting the buy button, getting everything we knew how to earn, but they couldn't do it. That's Microsoft. He can't do it, so there he's hitting the buy button on the microtransaction market. See, and then they run around flashing all of that. It's not the same as knowing how to do it and actually earning it and winning that way. Totally different dimension. I always remember that. We know in games, the person that's just hitting the buy button on mommy and daddy's credit card or the rich credit card is not the same as the person that grinded from all the way to level zero, all the way to max levels. At the top is one of the best players, on that server, and he knows what he's doing. That's way more respectable than the people than somebody's just hitting the buy button and didn't earn their way into that from the ground up. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I'm just trying to tell people. You just have to respect that over in the Nintendo world and even in the Sony world. But if you're a fanboy, you're not going to realize that mentality. And the gaming industry always needs that, and that starts with indie. So with subscription models, no, that's not necessarily the case because there's not some independency there to grow up and be independent and be AA and AAA. If it's just underneath corporate watch the whole time to be on their model, their model, yeah, he's right. That would be bad. There needs to be a balance for that because I love Game Pass. I would never want that to go away. You know what I mean? I've used it so many times for a lot of great things. I love the service. I've even loved Sony's PlayStation Plus service because when I came back, when I missed the launch window of PS5, I missed some stuff and I was able to have some stuff available for me there to catch up on. But I'm still buying and supporting games too. I have that spirit when I'm on PlayStation, that feeling. When I'm on Xbox, I feel like I don't want to buy anything, and that's not good. Nintendo, I always want to buy something. But like he says, that's really, really risky business. There always must always be fresh new ideas tried by small developers that create the next wave of development. Because that's how we got to where we were today. And that all started indie. And it's fresh and it's new, you know what I mean? It's like new, you never know what can come out of that. Not just always corporations controlling everything and squandering everything inside. And they just dictate what's going to happen. No, that'd be bad. So but if the big companies dictate what games can be created, I don't think that will advance the industry. Of course, and Microsoft is stagnant. So you can't trust, and this is not attacking it. No, this is being realistic. You can't have somebody try to lead the industry and talk to the majority of the industry when they could never do that game and win at that, and they're just hitting the buy button. I don't want to hear from that person. I want to hear from the one who knew how to do it, that started from the ground up. Yeah, 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 I know what I'm talking about, and made it all the way to the top. And is running the whole show and has been doing it, and is showing he's doing that with his artistry, their skills, their development. You see what I'm saying? They're way more advanced than somebody who's just hitting a buy button that's not doing that. Because they don't know what it took to struggle to get up there and really know how to do it at that degree without just buying something. So you don't want that person trying to lead, those people trying to lead. No. Use their service, but you know what I mean? But they're terrible leaders because they're not going to lead you down the right path because they're not creative. And the industry needs that creativity. It needs to advance. When you're stagnant, when you can't do it, and you have to buy it, you're showing that you're not the one that's going to be advancing the industry. This is just using your intelligence to understand, okay, they can't advance the industry. It's not going to happen. And it's not just money that's going to advance the industry. It takes a lot more than that. And that's what I love about the gaming industry. So going down here, we're going to get to the Game Pass stuff. Yoshida believes Sony delivered a healthier subscription model. Discussing Xbox Game Pass now, Microsoft has evolved the platform by adding more first-party titles while also regaining on its initial pledge to bring every single Xbox Game Studio project to the service on day one. Yoshida said the company might have bitten off more than it can chew. Mm-hmm. Well, they had to get Activision and everything. While acknowledging his own bias as a former PlayStation executive, Yoshida suggested Sony's take on a subscription model through PlayStation Plus, which has seen the company make major first-party titles available to subscribers, but only after a traditional premium release was perhaps healthier. I believe the way Sony approached subscriptions is healthier, not to overpromise and to allow people to spend money to buy the new games, he added. After a couple of years, there won't be many people willing to buy those games, and at that initial price, they will be added to the subscription service, and there will be more people to try those products in time for the next game and the franchise to come out. Yeah, he's right, because they're doing a hybrid model. It's like, my games still sell. I'm not putting it on the models. They will not kill my business. You know what I mean? I'm not sitting there with trillions of dollars. So I have to play the game and actually win and make decisions that actually matter. There's some soul there. You know what I mean? It's not soulless. Um, Even more for Nintendo because they're only gaming. They have to succeed for gaming. Um, so it's different situations. So it's like you got to respect those choices more because it's like, yeah, man, that's all you have. I see you're making decisions. You're being way more careful. You can't make those type of mistakes, and you don't. So you're playing the game at a higher degree. Um, and Sony, like he says, they're not putting those games there day one. They'll come later on after they sell, and then once they see no longer selling, put them on there. That's the wise thing to do. Microsoft just puts it there day one because they don't believe they can sell. They don't trust their product to sell. Otherwise, they wouldn't do that. It is a fear and insecurity. Nobody talks about this, but it's something that should be talked about. And it makes people feel good about that. But it's a way to hide, once again, the numbers that they were already hiding before. So now they're hiding it behind another player aspect. You see that? I don't like this numbers, the player stuff. It's stupid, man. It's like, bro, that's not a sell, man. These people could automatically have Game Pass, not just hitting play. And your whole companies could just be manipulating hitting play. It's like, no, show me the sales, and then we can realize what we need to do next. You see that whole thing of hiding the sales and then putting the Game Pass. That's okay. It's on Game Pass if it doesn't sell. They're not growing. That's stagnation. That's literally handicapping people because you're not allowing them to struggle and know what it feels like to actually grow and make it. And if they fail, they need to learn from that fellowship. It's kind of like an enablement model. Though we love it, but we need to think about, like, you wouldn't want the whole industry doing that because that would be terrible. But it's only a small portion because Game Pass is like what, 20 million people, 25, 30 million? You know what I mean? And the gaming industry is what, like 4 or 500 million people, a billion people? You know what I mean? 2 billion people? It's very minute. So Sony's approach is wiser because they're able to still play the game, their hardware still sells, and they have that subscription model for people who came later on and they can catch up right there. It just really depends on how you want to look at it. But Game Pass is obviously better than it. But I'm just saying they still have something along with that, but they're not going to dump all their stuff there day one because they still trust that their products can sell on the market. And at Nintendo, they don't have anything like that. They actually instead have a retro setup to where you can play all the retro games from regular NES all the way up to GameCube now online, enhanced up to 60 frames and upscaled, which is actually pretty cool on the go or dock. So they have a whole entire retro community. Even Sega has a retro contract with them. So they all have their ways of showing their services. And obviously, Nintendo and Sony are a little bit more smarter with it. Whereas Microsoft has to spend so much money to stay even somewhat relevant. And that's where you realize that it is a problem. It's like a sinkhole at that point. Um, so they can't find a way to grow organically. They have to keep dumping so much money to do it. And the way to make up for that is to go on PlayStation now and to go on Nintendo now and to go on PC. You see, that's the way to make the money back because their method would just it would not work. You'd have to shut down Xbox. That's the real truth. So that they need the other systems for life support cells to sell. And it's not bad. You know what I mean? It's like do it, stay alive because I like your Game Pass service. I wouldn't want it to go away. So let's keep going down here. I believe the way Sony approached subscriptions is healthier, like he was saying, and we were just talking about that, right? Although he feels Microsoft may have made an initial misstep with that day one pledge. Yoshida said the company has excelled in other areas. He described Microsoft's approach to backwards compatibility, which saw the company make it possible for Xbox Series XS owners to play thousands of original Xbox 360 and Xbox 1000. They did a really good job with that. I love their backwards compatible system. That's a really good job. They must have put a lot of engineering effort into that to achieve what they have done, he continued. Microsoft wasn't the only company to receive pundits during our chat. Yoshida talked uh, about that time to Yoshida also took time to praise Nintendo for slapping two controllers on the Switch and Switch 2 to enable multiplayer functionality straight out of the box. That's smart, he said. It is their DNA to cater to the needs of family and friends. Yeah, you could just have two players like that now. Now the Joy-Cons are bigger, and if you got a Pro controller like I do, that's three players now if people are over automatically. Two people could be holding a Joy-Con. and one can have a pro controller. And if you have something like Mario Party or some other games, you can do three players just like that. So they do have a setup that's different like that, and now you can turn it into a mouse. I mean, it has everything: handheld, mouse like a computer, controller, uh, turn into uh, you know, a single little controller like the little Joy Cons. I mean, yeah, it's really cool designs. But let me know what you guys think about this article right here, what Shuhei was saying. And then we can go over here, and this is a pretty long video. We can go over here and take a look at some comments. This guy says, do you think Netflix is worried about sales of its content, or does it stack content to become the de facto place to go for streaming? He doesn't realize that the gaming industry is a lot more complicated than movies and TV shows. The movie industry has been decimated since the popularity of subscription services. In a way, he's telling the truth. Wrong? No, he's not wrong. You're an idiot. Microsoft said they wanted to be the Netflix of gaming. That never made sense to me because games are nowhere near the compatible to movies. That should have never happened. In a way, he's right. But there's some type of comparison to it, but not fully. I know what he means because Netflix has like 200 and something million subs, but it also was like not making any money or profit for a very, very, very long time. And it just shows you how tough it is. Games are not movies or TV shows. We got to stop using a Netflix comparison. It doesn't work when it comes to video games. Netflix doesn't sell content more on. It doesn't. Games are not movies or TV shows. Though you can make something like that, but still, it's still different. No, I mean, it's different. Yeah, that's what I said. The gaming industry is different. Game Pass is not Netflix of gaming. It would have to be successful where everybody's coming there, but physical media would die, and that would be bad. So no, you can't do that. Netflix didn't turn a profit for a long time, plus more streaming services are struggling to maintain viewership. They're overspending on content and not maintaining subscribers. Hmm. People don't and shouldn't consume games in the same way they do TV series, movies. If you want a vibrant industry, make compelling titles that people openly opt into as an Al Qadra sell. Subservices become recurrent cesspools of content. Yeah, and AI slop. True. And entertainment, movies, and music are consumed at a different medium than games are. Can't believe after all these years, people are still using this argument. Yeah. So there we have it. Let me know what you guys think about that. All right, y'all. Peace out. Have a great day.